Rizzle, beloved staff members of LCE and other colleges, alumni of LCE, and my dear student teachers of LCE and other colleges. Good evening to one and all present here. I'm Sadhana from the Pedagogy of English, and I'm honored to be mastering the ceremony today. We all have gathered here on this virtual platform for the webinar on closing the achievement gap through teachers' feedback. Let us begin the session by seeking the blessings of the Almighty. I call upon Ms. Deborah Sharon from the Pedagogy of Physical Science to lead us with the prayer song.
My hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song. This cornerstone, the solid ground, firm to the fiercest round and stone. What heights of love, what depth of speed, when fears are still, when starving sea, my comforter, my all in all. Here in the love of God, I stand. No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me. From life's first cry to final breath, Jesus commands my destiny. No power of hell, no scheme of man can ever blow me from his hand till he return or calls me home. Here in the power of Christ I'll stand till he return or calls me home. Here in the power of Christ I'll stand. My chains are gone, been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace, unending love, amazing grace.
Thank you, Mr. Bora. It is now time to pay homage to our culture with the rendition of Tamil Thai Varthu by Ms. Pavitra from the Pedagogy of English.
நீராறும் கடலொடுத்த நிலமடந்த கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிது தெக்கணமும் அது சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த திறமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Thank you, Ms. Pavitra. Now, I would like to call upon Mrs. A. Jasmine Christie, Assistant Professor, Pedagogy of Mathematics, to deliver the welcome address.
Good and wonderful evening to all gathered here. Leaders are the role models who inspire the followers and motivate them to reach the target success. Loyola College of Education has always inspired everyone with its vision and mission. A warm welcome to all of you to the LCE Research Forum organized one-day international webinar on closing the achievement gaps through teachers' feedback. The fragrance of flowers spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of a person spreads in all directions. Amidst us, we have such an inspiring personality. I am overwhelmed to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Priyadarshini Muthukrishnan, Senior Lecturer, Department of Education, Faculty of Behavioral Sciences, Education and Languages, Help University. We are grateful from the bottom of our heart to her for courteously and gladly accepting our invitation for becoming the resource person of this webinar today. We welcome you, ma'am. One tree can start a forest. One word can frame a goal. One candle can wipe out darkness. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone. The above is very much apt to our Secretary, Reverend Dr. Susai Sebastian, SJ. You give a fatherly confidence. Your endless care, guidance, and support prove that you are a great leader. We are blessed to have a secretary like you. With a thankful heart, we welcome you, dear Father. The more you take responsibility of your past and present, the more you are able to create the future you seek. It is my turn to extend a gracious and inclusive welcome to our respected Dr. Kulandai Teresal, the principal of LCE. It's your sense of commitment which creates an apt platform for us to grow mentally and spiritually. On this great evening with merging of minds, we welcome you, dear madam. Creativity is especially expressed in the ability to make connections, to make associations, to turn things around and express in a new way. Behind the success of this webinar, there are great people who do common works uncommonly well. We would like to welcome our teaching and non-teaching staff for their continual and cooperative support, who work hand with us, feel relieved, moved a mile towards this great occasion. We welcome you all. Students are the world's most valuable resources and its best hope for the future. Yes, my dear students, you are the gifts of God, precious pearls of the society, and building blocks of the strong nation. Our institution and its manifold activities revolve around you. You become the center of everything. A very friendly and lovable welcome to you, dear students. It's a pleasure for me to welcome the alumni, the students, teacher educators, and research scholars from other reputed colleges of education on behalf of LCE. Your presence is highly appreciable by all of us. It is our pleasure to host you all and give you a platform to attend this webinar. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Dr. T. Ponmalini, Assistant Professor of Perspectives in Education, to introduce the resource person.
A warm good evening to all connected virtually. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Priyadarshini Muthukrishnan, who is the resource person for this webinar. Madam had completed her UG and Masters in Chemistry from University of Madras and B.Ed in the same, and also done her ML, MPhil and PhD from Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University. She has worked as a senior secondary chemistry teacher at various schools in Tirunelveli. Then she started her career in Segi University, Selangor, Malaysia, as a lecturer and program leader cum lecturer for B.Ed and M.Ed. Now she is working as a senior lecturer, Faculty of Behavioral Sciences, Education and Languages, Help University, Selangor, Malaysia. She was awarded a gold medal for the first place in MPhil degree university examination in the year 2012. She secured first place in the research methodology course in MEd and MPhil degree examination in the year 2010 and 11 respectively. She won the Appreciation Award for the commendable chemistry results in preparing the senior secondary students for securing district level ranks in chemistry examination. She won the Gold Award in Educational Innovation, Creativity and Design Competition in the year 2018. She has guided 27 research projects. She had completed one project as a principal researcher and two as a co-researcher and one ongoing project of FRGS. She had published 10 papers in Scopus publication, 3 ARA indexed, and 5 in peer review journal. She had presented 7 papers in various conferences and attended 14 workshops. She is a journal article reviewer in International Journal of Instruction and the Asia Pacific Journal of Education and Educators. We are very happy to have you with us, madam. Now the session is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm privileged in handing over the session to our eminent resource person, Dr. Priyadashini Muthukrishnan. Thank you, ma'am. The session is yours.
Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, you're not audible.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sadhana. Yeah. Okay. So I hope now I am audible. Is my audio setting good enough? Okay. Thank you. I get a thumbs up here. Thank you. Okay. So yeah. So today, good evening to one and all. This is a very, I feel very much blessed to hear to the, especially to start before I go for the thank you note to one and all. I really feel very blessed to hear to that prayer song and to Tamil Thai Valthu. After a many long time, it is really, it touched me a lot and makes me a bit emotional too, right? So yeah, I really appreciate the culture that we, the colleges in India that we strive to keep up always. I think we should continue doing it, right? Okay, so good evening one and all. And so yeah, I'm excited to be here for this discussion this evening. So indeed, it's a very great privilege to be a guest lecturer or a guest speaker of Loyola College of Education, a very well-reputed institution, right? So when Dr. Ponmalini requested me to join this, to present a webinar, I readily accepted it without, for any delay. I just said like, okay, let's go on and fix a date. So I take this opportunity, really a much privileged one, and a kind of interaction and the network that Loyola College of Education doing, and especially with the community-based activities. Yeah, so something appreciable, and I always want to build network with Loyola College, and this is my first time doing it, and I hope such network will continue and in the future too. So I take this opportunity to thank Reverend Father Susai Sebastian, SJ, the Secretary of Loyola College of Education, for having recognized me for this webinar. I hope you are all doing well, Father. Yeah. And also I thank the Principal, Dr. Kulande Teresa, the organizing committee, Dr. T. Ponmalini, and a team of organizing committee members there, Mrs. A. Jasmine Christie, Dr. S. Pandiselvi, as well as so many co-organizers who have worked for this webinar, Dr. C. Beulah, Dr. M. Caroline Maria, Dr. Karthikeyan, Dr. A. Suresh Babu. Thank you very much for organizing this seminar, this webinar, and making it possible today. And yeah, so I'm very much glad to share some of the experiences or the I would say that the knowledge I have gathered over this few years, especially in feedback, because of the research in feedback. I take this platform something to be just to have a discussion rather than some kind of knowledge from me. So without further ado, let me get into the topic, and I hope that you will stay with me for another 45 to 50 minutes. I hope to try to finish it within 1 hour. Okay, so I hope you will stay with me. for the next 50 minutes at least, right? And be very interactive. And towards the end of the session, we can move to the Q&A session. And I would like to get some questions, keep it ready so that we can discuss. All right. Okay, so shall we start, ma'am? Ms. Ponmalini, I can go with my presentation. Okay, I get
Yes,
some
ma'am.
thumbs up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. Okay, just give me a second. Let me share my presentation. Okay, there it is. Okay, let me put in the PowerPoint mode. Okay, so today we are going to just have a discussion on this very important topic, closing the achievement gaps through feedback in the classroom. Right. So always achievement is what is the ultimate goal in education. And so I felt that this is something that is needed, especially for students to whom we focus on outcomes. So this topic is closing the achievement gaps through feedback. Okay. So this another 45 minutes, what we are going to just go through are the meaning of achievement gap, the factors that are influencing learning outcomes, okay, and meaning of feedback. And very specifically, I'm going to go through this Hattie and Tipperley model of feedback. And following that, we do a short reflection and Q&A session. Okay. So throughout this session, I would like you all to reflect on your own personal experience as a student. And probably like you're all first year or second year students, right? Most of them, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Ponmalini said most of them are first year students. So I would like you to reflect on what you have experienced in your studies during your school days, in your university time or college studies. What kind of feedback you have received, and what is that you really worth, in that feedback, and what is missing, right? And therefore, now as teachers or teacher educators, educators, right? What kind of feedback do you want to give to the students, right? So what you missed, you don't want to just someone have to fill that gap. So what you missed, I think you should take action on that and see that you provide effective feedback to the students, right? So that's the main focus of today's session. Right. So throughout the session, I have two activities to go through with you. So I would really want everyone to be participatory. Okay, and it will be interesting if you participate. So see that you don't know for the next few hours. Stay with me. Stay tuned with me. So these are the topics that we are broadly going to cover in this. Okay. So now. Okay, so for achievement gap. So achievement gap, I hope like you had have nothing new here. Okay, so achievement gap is the term that you would have come across and have written so many discussions, gone for discussions on achievement gap. So achievement gap in community is what is widely spoken. So all educational policies we need to address to the achievement gap. So the gap between community, that is socioeconomic status, lower, upper, gender, right, family with the educational background and non-educational background, parents, I mean, and then you have rural and urban area, and religion, cultural values, beliefs, customs, right, language, minority, majority, multicultural classrooms, especially in international schools, right, multicultural classrooms and ethnicity, right, diversity. So you see that there is a diversity everywhere, right? We cannot avoid that. We don't like a rainbow in a single color. Anyone there? You enjoy a rainbow in a single color. We appreciate for the colorfulness, right? So diversity is a part of the community, and we have to see that we encourage, foster each other, support each other, and try to minimize the gap. So whenever there is disparity or the diversity in the community, wherever we live, right, there is this achievement gap between the two groups or different groups of people. Now, how to close that achievement gap is one of the challenging tasks in every single country, right? So now, what is feasible? That is, at a policy level, we have wonderful plans and policies to implement. But when it comes to actions and when it comes to finally towards the down the road, over the years, how the policies are implemented and down the road, how the outcomes, we are striving hard to close the gap, right? To close the achievement gap between two or more groups. So therefore, at a bigger level, at a macro level, it looks like a very big picture, very gigantic task for us to go. Therefore, what is to be done at a micro level, at a simple level, to be done in the classroom, right? So just hold on, I get an annotation request, so I'm going to decline that. Okay. So so what is feasible at a micro level is what I would say that there are many ways, but today's topic, we will just focus on one micro level of teaching method or approaches, which is feasible within the school setting, within the classroom, in the hands of teacher is feedback. Okay, so there are so many ways of closing it, but today's session, we will just focus on providing feedback and how this could, this could pave way to close the achievement gap in a bigger picture. Okay, so I'm not going to touch more on the topic, but we are going to go right into the topic of what you call this feedback. So looking at a big picture is something very challenging. Always take one baby step at a time. So what are the baby steps? What are the small steps? One step I would consider is the feedback, okay, which is feasible in the classroom. In your classroom, the way you provide feedback to the students, right? The way they perceive the feedback, they understand the feedback. So the kind of understanding between the student and the teacher, right? That is going to be very impactful. That is going to be very impactful. So whenever we want to look at a big picture, let us work in a smaller steps to achieve that, right? So that's why our focus for today's session is feedback. So as I just introduce this diversity, why diversity should lead to disparity. It is the part of community. It is there inbuilt in the community, but how are we going to overcome? So the question of why disparity is, yes, we have to remove it in a long run. Okay. So how to achieve this educational equality is what we will have to focus. And therefore, I would say that what is feasible, what we can do it as an action manageable within our scope is what as teachers we can bring in the classroom. Okay. So I hope you all out there will certainly believe that teachers can have a very positive impact on students' learning. I hope the word, now I quote the word positive impact. Yeah, there are teachers, right? We do not want to consider that, but most of the teachers, we are striving hard to bring that kind of positive impact on students' learning. And we do believe that, right? We do have to believe that. Strongly, we need to believe that. If at all any teacher out there not believing that, the first thing is to start believing that we can influence students. The way we teach, the way we do things in the classroom, right? It conveys subtle meanings to the students consciously and unconsciously. So we are great influencers, right? So that we should take care. Huh? We should take care. Now, before we move into this the feedback and the following related content to that, I would like to take this request you all to go for this activity. I will give the link in a short while. So you see that when we look at the outcome, there are so many factors that affects the achievement or the learning outcome. You say motivation, influence, outcome, health, right? Positive attitude, and then a family background. So there are endless number of factors, right, that affects the learning, both in a positive and in a negative way, right? Okay, so now I have this 10 effects that are mostly commonly spoken, right, and also being researched, widely researched areas. Okay, I have just chosen these 10, and why I have chosen this, you will come to it later, come to know about it later. Okay, so I have chosen this 10, and now I'm going to share the link with you to go and rate this. Okay, before we do that, let me just go through this 10, if you know a short meaning of all these terminologies here. So reciprocal teaching, number one, is I hope like some of you have practiced it, right? Reciprocal teaching is it is a kind of paired activity in a classroom where two students can interchange their role as a teacher and student. So one time I teach my friend and I ask question, and then next time the friend will be a teacher for the following topic and teach the friend, okay, and they share. So it's a kind of taking role play like teacher student game like, okay, so it helps. Okay, not necessary that you need to teach all the time, but you can conduct such paired activities where students take turns and just play the role of student and teacher. Okay, so that's one. B is feedback. Feedback, I hope like you all, it's a very common term. Okay, I don't think that we spend more time on that. Later we are going to do student teacher discourse. That means the kind of communication, the interaction, the communication, the knowledge sharing that happens in the class, how you address students' queries, no, when they ask questions, the discussion that is going on in the class. Okay, that's student teacher discourse. Ability grouping. So grouping students, that's called homogeneous grouping, right, of same ability. All students so bright and they all in the group A, or you say section 1, right, and section D or C, or as you go further down, those students really pity, you know, like they are being labeled like that. That shouldn't be happening, right? So ability grouping. Anyway, I gave you a hint. Okay, next is retention. I hope like now we are not to say hope, but I'm sure that we are not doing the retention at a primary level, right? And however, what is your idea about retention? Holding back a year, right? That student are not promoted to the next class. Next, concept mapping, right? You use this teaching a learning method for children to understand concepts and to relate and see how different concepts in their lessons are interlinked, and make sense of that. And next is the academic discourse, right? And discussion. Oh, sorry, C is some panel is hiding that, so I thought like it is student teacher discourse, C, number C, but C is student teacher relationship. And G is what? Academic discourse, that is the discussion in the classroom. Cooperative learning or any kind of group work, right? Is it a collaborative learning, cooperative learning, jigsaw learning, any type of group work, okay, consider that. Homework, yes, most readily used, widely used approach, homework. And J, the final one, is individualized instruction or individualized instruction plan, right? Educational plan, most commonly used for special needs children before, but now all of us know towards this during this COVID online learning, I think most of the teachers are going for preparing individualized lesson plans, right? Okay, so you see that I have these 10 effects on learning. Some are bring positive effects, some are negatively, negatively influence learning. Now I'm going to share this link with you in the next one. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. So what should I do? I should stop sharing. Just hold on now. And I'm going to copy this link to you and send this to you. Okay. Just hold on, please. Okay. I have to copy this and send this in the chat box. I have to stop sharing for a while. I'm getting her on this one. Just hold on, please. Bear with me. Oops. Am I still here? Yeah. Okay. Sorry for that. sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just hold on. Am I still sharing content? Yeah.
No, ma'am. No,
Oh,
ma'am.
no.
Your
Okay.
screen is closed.
All right. Just bear with me. Yeah. Okay. I'm using the WebEx for the first time. Okay. So here I have sent the link for you in the chat box. Yeah, it's a Mentimeter, right? I hope most of you are familiar with that. If not, just try it today and make yourself familiarized with this. So I have just shared this link with you, okay? And I'm going to go to that link as well. And please go and click the rating that you need to do. So see that the 1 is the most influential, that 10 is the least one. Okay, so just click the link and you can go to that. Are you able to access? Can I get your feedback?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to access.
Okay, thank you. That's good. Okay, so please go and take some 2 minutes, 3 minutes time should be okay, I guess. Yeah, so please do that for me. Okay, let me just don't share the answer. I give you some time not to get influenced by your peers. Yeah. Okay, I see only 10 responses are in. Some more, please. I hope you're all on the way completing it. Okay, 21 responses so far. So I got 42 so far. Okay, let me give 1 or 2 minutes more. Yes. Okay, so how many responses? I'm not sure. I'm the presentation more. Let me just go back, see how many responses, just to be more precise. I see 62 responses are here. Okay, maybe some of you are still doing it. Take your time and yeah. Okay, so that's very good. Thank you very much for those who have contributed for this. Yes, that's very good. So the first being, most of you have accepted that it is teacher-student relationship. That's good. Hats off to you all. Okay, and cooperative learning, individualized instruction also, right? Surprising. So third, it's there at the third position, and concept mapping. So many of you agree. Okay, that's good. Academic discourse. Oh, I see like 6 ability grouping. Okay, so still some of you have the idea that ability grouping is something good for learning. Okay, right. Okay, so I'm not telling anything right or wrong at this point, right? It's not one straightforward answer to be made at this point. You have to read and consider so many factors to decide on that. But whatever it is for now, on the big picture, the whole reciprocal teaching, 7th, okay. Feedback, oh, it's there at the 8th, what the topic we are going to do today. And 9th, homework. Oh, that's good. 9th and 10th, I think most of you agree, right? Very aptly, like nobody likes homework, and I'm not sure whether do you think a homework is really influential in learning or to build up stress. So yeah, homework is something, all right. Retention, nobody agrees also. So right, okay. Okay, thank you very much for your responses. Appreciate that. So let me go back. So just keep this in your views for the next discussion. Okay, probably you might change your ideas or your understanding as we move along in this lecture. Okay, now let me share my content. That's going to be, where is it? Okay, it's here. See, quite a number of windows open. Okay. May I know which slide am I in now? Are you, can you see the check your understanding on effective learning is what being presented now? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, that's good. Thank you, thank you. Okay, just to make sure, yeah. Okay, so that is just an exercise for you, a simple activity that to stay tuned for the next of our session and to reflect on what you know and your practices. Okay, let's look what is the answer. Okay, so here are the answers. Okay, according to whom? Okay, according to research. Okay, according to research, what I am going to share now. Okay, according to research, academic discourse is first. Okay, I'll come to the decimal what it is later. Okay, later I will discuss about those decimal points. But just look at the 10. Okay, the rank from 1 to 10. So feedback is second. Reciprocal teaching, I think it stood third also in our survey, if I'm not mistaken. Student-teacher relationship was the first. Okay, now it is in the fourth. This is just the 10 factors, okay. Concept mapping, I think somewhere around 5 or 6 you all had. And cooperative learning, somewhere around the same place, right? Homework, you see, homework, individualized instruction is also less. Surprisingly, it was in the third position in what we did the activity, right? Ability grouping and homework, yeah, it is towards the end, right? So how many of you agree, like, okay, so retention is another one, that's towards the end. And I hope like most of you, ours is also retention that stood at the 10th place in our ranking, right? I hope like most of you have done a good job there. Okay, So thank you very much for that. Okay, now we are going to look into this why and how and on what basis are we saying this ranked 1 to 10. Okay, and what's the meaning of these decimal places, right? Okay, so now I want to introduce this concept, and if any of you know, then give me a thumbs up if you know already, or this concept of visible learning, okay, which is very interesting, and I would encourage you to learn more in this area. Okay, it's a very recent research and Hatchie and Timperley. Okay, so visible learning is what we are going to dwell in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So what is that? So teachers see the work of students through the eyes of students. So you see students' work not from your perspective, right? If you wear your blue glass, everything looks blue, right? So the same way, like, you don't see from your perspective. You see students work from their perspective, from their shoes. And that's how you should know, teachers, we should see the students work from their point of view. Okay. And how about students? Students should see themselves as their own teachers. Okay, so in the whole process of visible learning, we enable students to become their own teachers, to say in the other sense, to make them as independent learners. Okay, so we enable learners to become independent learners. Everyone likes to be more free, right? Freedom is our choice. And why do we want our students to be dependent on us all the time? So when we enable them as teachers, when we enable them as independent learners, they achieve greater things. Okay. So the whole idea of visible learning is how teachers view students' work from students' point of view, and how we enable students to become more independent and their own teachers. That means they educate. So there are so many books and articles related to visible learning, and more specifically on feedback. Okay, so I would encourage you to read on this recent research area in learning approaches and also in feedback. Okay, now what is so interesting here? Okay, so this is John Hattie and with his co-worker Timperley. Okay, he published this article, which is very interesting. He collected 15 years of research that has been done, okay, and because there are several factors that affects learning, right? You say motivation, attitude, beliefs, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, which is the most? We don't know, right? So his work is collected 15 years of research that focused on factors that influence academic achievement, okay? And he has conducted 1,137 meta-analysis, right? So it's a type of analysis, a statistical analysis he has conducted, okay? And here, the number of studies, you see that 50,000 studies he analyzed for using meta-analysis approach. And in the 15,000 studies, some huge number, I forgot all the maths now. Now, this many number of students have participated in the study. That means in the 50,000 studies, the sample number of students participated in those research studies is this big number, 260, 3060 followed by that. So you see that many number of students have taken analysis, data has been analyzed, and he has come up with a wonderful finding. So what's the outcome of the finding? Surprising, right? Okay, so he published his work based on this kind of analysis. And the one term that you need to understand here is the effect size. Okay, so all the factors, we have endless number of these factors, affects the student achievement. He analyzed everything and gave that what are the factors that really are impactful. Okay, and what he claimed is, even you leave the students with no teacher or the laziest teacher in the world in the class for 1 year, just with the books and just like that, you can still see progress in the students. It's not because of the presence of teacher is important for the learning, okay, but the maturity, the cognitive maturity that we achieve, especially at a younger age, right? Piaget theory and all those theory think about it. So we have this cognitive maturity or the cognitive development, which eventually lead us to learn new things, even in the absence of a teacher. Therefore, then what's the role of teacher in the classroom? That's interesting. So he identified there are some factors that really need teachers, right, in the classroom, and that brings very high impact on students' achievement. So he considered this a term called effect size. Okay, I'm not going to go very deep into the meaning of effect size for our discussion. Just anything, effect size of 0.4 and over means it's very impactful. Okay, so anything effect size of 0.4 brings about 50% of changes, right? Improvement in achievement. Okay, so 50%. So based on that only, what the survey just now we took, okay, and I gave the top 10 is based on this, okay. So here are the barometer to say about the effect size and how he presented his final findings, right, of his study. So anything in this range of 0.4 has impact. Anything lesser than 0.4, that means it has a very minimal impact, low impact, or negative impact. Okay, so 0.4 is the baseline or the threshold, and any value of effect size, the value D is called the effect size. Okay. So now, what are the if you refer to his books, there are so many factors he has considered. Okay, now broadly speaking, so here you see that the decimal values are here over that bars over the end. You can see, sorry, the picture what I can retrieve, right, is only the resolution is like this. Okay, later you please refer to it and read more on this. Okay, so you see that the decimal places are here, and you can see that the different factors that influence achievement are here. Okay, and you see that collective teacher efficacy, that means how teacher believe how much they are competent, okay, has a very high impact on student learning. If you think you are competent, it has a positive, very high effect on the learning. So you have to develop your competency. Student expectations, okay, what student expect, the more the student expects, the teacher will go beyond to know more, to teach more, right? Because when students are demanding, you know, I have come across this experience a lot, and I have changed a lot. This I would agree. Okay, when students are demanding, you will improve your knowledge and skill there. Okay, so student expectation, it's not teacher expectation. Okay, student expectation will mold teachers. Okay, next is response to intervention. Okay, and you see that down this graph. Okay, down this graph, there are I see some kind of, okay. So down this, you can see so many factors that are influential, like feedback. You see the value is 0.75. Okay, so that is very influential feedback. Okay, metacognitive strategies, direct instruction is also quite influential. It is above 0.4. Okay, so to some extent, especially when teaching concepts, direct instructions are helpful. Peer tutoring, class management, parental involvement. You see, it is 0.4. It's very important. Writing, cooperative learning. So you see that in this 1,000 research, it's just a limited, because what is easy for presentation. Okay, so he analyzed so many factors that influence learning, and for today's discussion, that's why we have focused on feedback, because it is one of the top. It is one of the top 10. Okay, teacher efficacy, student assessment, intervention, micro teaching is very important. You all should take it seriously and improve your skills. Discussion, right? It's not always learn from the books. You have to learn by knowledge sharing. Okay, and emphasize on success criteria. Feedback is there, and 0.75. Okay, so there are so many other things. Now let me just go straight into the feedback. Yeah, let me just check the time. Oh my God, I'm running out. Right. Okay. So here are these 10 negative effects. Okay. So you see that students feeling dislike is negative 0.19. And the feedback is the way that we make students dislike the whole subject. Yes, agree. Okay. So therefore, okay, let's focus on feedback. Now, feedback, how do you see feedback? I'm not going to go into the definitions and other things, okay, that you would have covered it in your subject. Now, feedback is to say in simple words, it's the gap, okay, it's the gap between the actual and the expected. So the feedback is what is actual performance. So a student scoring 55 marks, okay, but you expect the student, you set the test for 100. If not, the student, no, aiming for 100. So probably like, say like 60, 80. What is expected, okay, and there is a gap. So always this is a gap that is bothering us in education context. How to close this gap? How to bring the actual performance close to the expected performance? Right. So once we close this gap at the student level, every student level, then you think of the big picture. We started the achievement gap. Okay, we are indirectly influencing the closing the bigger gap. Right. Okay, so therefore at the student level, how to work? Now, who is going to close the gap? Is it students' work, parents' work, teachers' work? Who is going to close the gap? Whose role? It's our role. It's educator, teachers. I would say that teacher has the primary role in closing this gap. Okay, you have actual performance and you say like, hey, come on, next test you should score 100, otherwise, okay, we place very high expectation. Parents pressure, social pressure, peer pressure, all kind of pressure, right? We set very high expectation, which is even beyond the student's level to achieve, right? We don't set realistic goals for them. We force them to take certain goals, right? So therefore, what I would say that feedback is the gap that need to be filled in, that need to be explored, and steps, action plans have to be taken. Who has to take? Teacher has to take and instruct students, instruct parents to, okay, and then you can see that students are slowly, right, they are blooming and they can do very well in the exams, or you say any outcomes. Okay, so feedback should be goal reference and it should be actionable. Make it feasible. A student scoring 60 marks, make it okay, next test you score 70 marks. Don't immediately make a big leap to 100 and then I will kill you. Okay, so make it into smaller steps, achievable, manageable by the student, not by you, manageable by the student to their ability. Okay, make it timely, make it ongoing. So for feedback is important for formative assessment. You don't give feedback for 1 year and then you say towards the end in the summative assessment, you give the grade sheet with a poor grade. Who has to be blamed? The teacher has to be blamed. Sorry if I'm just like at times, but I think teacher takes the great responsibility in this. Okay, so teacher, it's every gap in the classroom is teacher's homework area. Okay, anything that is not achievable in your classroom, it's not just homework for your students, it's a homework for the teachers. Okay, so who has the primary load? I would encourage you all to take in this message that I have a primary role in making students achieve whatever they are able to achieve or whatever they have set the goal. Okay, so effective feedback, yeah, we have discussed that's a gap between actual and the expected, right? Okay, and just let me go through the slide and later we come for the discussion. I hope I have the time. Oh my God, it's 24, right? Okay, so evidence about the present position, right? And it's we have to provide guidance. Now, therefore, what is important? Do you look at the outcome when you give feedback? What is important? Do you look at the outcome? Say like you have a project and student bring the project work and you give marks to the project, or the student who have tried very hard to come to that end product. Is it the process or the product? Right. So in education context, please take this message that all teachers, we should encourage the process. from where the student is starting to struggle to make it possible. Okay, and even the end product is not to your expectation, right? Right. So the process is important, the starting point, and to what extent the student has come, that is very important. So encourage how students are achieving, putting in effort in their classroom. Okay. So when you give feedback to the classroom, to one student, at times, you just throw to the whole class, and one poor student have to get scolding from you. Now we just give it to the whole class, and the whole class mood goes up, right? So when we are giving feedback, see that it's a kind of interaction that helps students to understand, right? To change their behavior, to change the approach of learning. So don't teach them what to learn, teach them how to learn. If you say don't do, tell them what to do, right? So don't always give them, come on, this is the content, this is the textbook you need to learn. Whenever you give the content, tell them, give some teaching learning methods. Okay, this lesson you can learn through concept mapping, this lesson through this reflection worksheet, this lesson through this activity, whichever you feel comfortable. These are the videos, these are the links for you. Come on, you take it, whichever works best for you, you take it and learn, right? So when you give feedback, don't talk about the end product, the final outcome, the final marks, right? From there, what is going to be there? So don't make the feedback time an unpleasant time in the class. Therefore, we always think about this feedback, okay? So there is a discrepancy and teachers and students. So you see that some of the ignored part are feed up, feedback, feed forward, right? We always focus on feedback. That is progress of what has been done in the past. That's achievement. Now, feed up is making them aware of their goals, and feed forward is what I should do next. Okay, so feedback should comprises of feed up and feed forward. This is what I am now, what I should be doing next, and where am I going towards, right? So when you give feedback, it shouldn't be a simple sentence or simple just like words coming out there to discuss. You have to be mindful. Therefore, I would say that when you give feedback, the sentence, the words that you are using to write or give verbal feedback, oral feedback, written feedback, there are many types of feedback. Okay, that is beyond our discussion today. See that when you give feedback, you tell them their skills, their strengths, and the lack of skill, what is they need to build, the skill. And the will, the way you tell them should develop kind of learning disposition to motivate them to learn, create a positive mindset. Okay, so you first evaluate whether your feedback is providing will, or are you destroying or creating stress. Thrill, the excitement in learning. Okay, so when you give feedback, when you talk to the students personally or in class as a group, see that you cover skill, will, and thrill in your feedback. Okay, I hope you will take this. Very nice, right? Rhyming, skill, will, and thrill. Of course, this is not from me. This is from Hattie and Timpali. Okay, I didn't put the reference, but the whole thing is from Hattie and Timpali because that's very important. Okay, so skill, will, and thrill is what you need to cover when you give the feedback and create the positive mindset. Okay, am I running out of time? Looks like that. Okay, so here is the 4 types of feedback: task, process, and self-regulation and self. Okay, let me just go through very quickly what it is. So when you give feedback, this is based on Hattie Timpali model of feedback, 4 levels. Task is sometimes, you just correct students' work, error, just kill it like a butcher, like you see, like all red marks. In some of the schools, even teachers are not allowed to use red pens. They use colorful pens so that students perceive it in a positive way. Okay, so you just do all kind of striking and do things, right? It's task based. So your feedback is, come on, this is the work you need to do, and these are the errors. It is actually very stressful. Okay, and the process of the task is how you have made errors, and ask the student to learn from errors. Okay. Always we see like students writing math work, we want them to keep it a very clean notebook, right? Why do we want to keep them very clean notebook? And for what? Is it just for the visiting people, the committee members, who inspectors who are coming? We need to present it so nice. No, we have to keep the trace of errors. The trace of errors is important. When they come back and revisit the work, they will look into it and they won't make the work. Why do we need to hide mistakes in the classroom? Why do we ask students to erase all and put? I really don't encourage students to put all these covering stuffs in their notebook. No, all this, the names are not coming to me now. So no need to hide the mistakes. Let it be there. Okay, those are the learning trials. Okay, and it helps children to avoid future mistakes. Self-regulation, how to regulate, you say like, these are the mistakes. Now come on, tell teacher, what should I do? Okay, are we giving that? So give some self-regulation strategies. And the last one is self. It's all about praise. Oh, well done, you are a good boy, you're a good child. Oh, great, that's good. That's actually not so going to be very helpful in a long run. Okay, so we should try to avoid praises on an individual level. We can praise them for effort or praise them for process. Okay, but not for them, individual level. Okay, so yeah, something similar I have put up in this slide. Now, therefore, whatever feedback you give, you might think like, why I should give feedback? No, you can influence children, right? You can influence their mindset. Teachers can influence their mindset. So our brain knows, now this growth mindset is what is very important. So just like how you work out and you tone up your physical muscle, the more you give positive comments and positive beliefs about students, they develop this positive mindset called growth mindset. They believe that intelligence is something that can be changed. It's not going to be stay forever. Okay, so I scored last year math low marks. It's not going to be, I'm not going to develop math skill ever in my life, but I put in effort, I can grow intelligence. Okay, so we should set this, that with effort, intelligence is achievable. With effort, with consistent effort, intelligence is achievable. Okay, so this type of feedback we need to give. Therefore, when you give feedback in the classroom, right, next time you take care that it brings excitement in learning. Okay, so children take it positively, you approach it positively, and positive outcomes are right. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so encourage children for effort. Towards the end we are coming. Okay, for progress, encourage children for progress. I get my echo. Celebrate the success in every small task, not over the year, only in the end of the year I buy you this. No, just today a child does something. Okay, encourage, just celebrate the success with the child. Explore mistakes. Okay, don't try to conceal, hide mistakes. Take it as a learning opportunity. Every mistake is a learning opportunity in the class. For whom? For teacher as well as the child. Okay, so teach how to learn rather than, all the time dumb with them for all the content. You learn this book, that book. How to learn is the smarter way to approach what to learn. Okay, try to be a smart teacher and a smart students. So allow child to set self-reference goal. You don't tell them you have to get this marks in this test. Let them set their goals. Let them achieve towards it. Let them take their responsibility of what they are doing. Okay. So mistakes are learning moments. So these are some take-home message. But now the take-home message is no more. We are all already in the home, right? Yeah. So now I don't have something similar word. Okay. Anyway, take-home message. Now, this is a simple exercise for you. Square, circle, triangle, reflection. Okay. So based on today's discussion on feedback, Think about one idea that you exactly what you consider fixed or exactly like a frame fixed with your idea or your belief, your understanding of feedback. Think about that. And this is just a 40 minutes discussion. There are so many questions. I'm sure you will have so many questions on this particular topic, right? And think about those questions. Write it down. Write it down. Think about those questions that is circling your mind unanswered, left unanswered after this, right? And take at least 3 key points from this today's discussion that you should remember and put in practice, right? So the 3 points that you like to take and consider in improving yourself. Okay, towards any learning task, try to do this activity. It is so something that exactly fits with your idea, something that is left unanswered, something you have gained from this particular session. Okay, so make note of it. Now I have this one particular activity, but before that, let me just get back to the Dr. Ponmalini to know how am I progressing, and time is up already, 7:36.
Okay, ma'am, we can proceed with the activity also, no issues.
No issues.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's good. Somehow I struggled to keep up my time. I think I should appreciate myself for doing it. I was thinking I will run out of it. Okay, here it goes. Okay, let me first stop sharing this. Get to the chat screen. Okay. I have done this. I have sent this link of again something Mentimeter. Please go to that link. Now, think about one key point. I have asked you 3 key points to remember. Just think about one key point that you would consider when providing feedback to students. Okay, it's you can write it and in few words or sentences. Yeah. Is it accessible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. That's good. Okay. So please take this question. Kindly respond. Okay, I see 171 participants. Thank you. Okay, just think over, and you're free to write if you want 3 points also. Yeah, can. Okay. Let me share that. I see some responses coming in. Share web browser. Okay, so yeah, here I see some points here. Approach it positively, motivational, that's good. Make them excited to hear their feedback. Yes, exactly. Students' feedback should reference a skill or specific knowledge. Good. Feedback on time. Yes, feedback should be timely. What else? It should motivate the students to do better and not make them feel disappointed. Yes, smiling face, good. Positive outlook and positive attitude. Encourage and ensure positivity. I can self-learning about myself by their views. I'm not sure. Sorry, I couldn't get the meaning. Anyway, thanks for that response. I suggest experimental method of teaching. Okay. The feedback should be motivating. I think most of you have done as motivating. Okay, good. I see 38 responses. Thank you for those who responded and who are in the progress. Okay, let me check whether I can change it to the word cloud and see, I cannot change. Oh, I cannot change at this point of time. That's fine. Okay, so thank you very much. I see here, I hope like you can also see my screen. I'm sharing that right now. The responses, we had extracted the stuffs you have told. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, their interest should be considered while giving feedback. Students' feeling should not be hurted. Exactly, thanks for that. Encourage and ensure. Yeah, I think I read a few here. Down there, let me go. Motivational. Most of you are motivational teachers out there. Okay. Constructive feedback. Immediate reinforcement of mind. Immediate reinforcement of feedback. Okay, that's the way. Okay, that's your way of. Good. Thank you very much for all your responses. I hope this session, I have covered the main points. Okay, now let's go for this discussion. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to discuss with you.
Thank you, ma'am, for educating us on the significance of feedback in a teacher's career. Participants, if you have any queries or questions, you can unmute yourselves and ask or type it in the chat box.
Yeah, thanks, Adana. Okay, some of you have given, oh, Father Amar Raj is here. Thank you, Father. Okay, thank you for all those encouragement that keeps me going. Any questions, please? Let's just ask some questions. Let's end up with a discussion. Yeah, there's a question here. Thank you. Divya MV. Okay. With online education, how does the feedback really works with the student? Oh, that's a good question. Thank you. So you see the feedback, how to now we can give audio feedback. Okay, record it. We do that. Okay, record the feedback, verbal feedback, written feedback. You have to I hope like all the teachers are now familiar with some type of platform that supports online learning like Google Classroom or whatever it is. And even assessments are carried out. Teachers are trying to carry out the assessment in online classes as well. So there are ways that you can annotate. If like students' work, you can annotate students' work and give feedback, written feedback here in the document, if it is a Word document. Or if you're not comfortable, just voice record it, right? It is very easy and you can send it directly to the student. And now WhatsApp is everyone, right? So you can Actually, you can attach the audio to your Word document or PDF file also. Okay, so whether you want to choose it as a verbal feedback or written feedback, there are tools that are available to be incorporated, okay, and could be used effectively. And students will be very glad if you can put an audio feedback, and they'll be very glad to hear. But you have to take care you don't get into trouble with the parents, huh? Yeah. Okay, so here, any other questions for me? Okay, thank you, Dr. Arakyadas. Okay. Any other questions I left out or like? Okay.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right, all right. Okay, then, if no more questions, then we are towards the end of the session. Thank you very much. I see here 167 participants. Okay, so thank you very much for all the educators from various colleges. My well-wishers, yeah, my parents also here, right? So my well-wishers, friends, and the students of Loyola College and other colleges here, okay? Stay safe. I didn't talk about the coronavirus situation. Now I see that in India it's getting better. Actually, I always monitor that how things are going. So hope we will come out of this situation and resume back to the normal situation quickly, right? Okay, we pray for that, and stay safe and take care of yourself and the family and the community. That's very important. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Dr. Pondiselvi, Assistant Professor, Pedagogy of History, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I take immense pleasure to express my gratitude to our resource person, Dr. Priyadarshini Muthukrishnan, Senior Lecturer, Help University, Malaysia, for accepting our invite and for spending her valuable time with our students and making them understand the importance and meaning of teachers' feedback. I thank our Father Secretary, Dr. Susai Sebastian S.J., for guiding us in all walks of activities. And I thank our principal, Dr. Kurandai Teresal, for supporting us in organizing this webinar. I thank the coordinator and members of the Loyola College of Education Research Forum for giving this great opportunity. I thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff of Loyola College of Education for their motivation and support. And I thank the faculties and students of various colleges. Last but not least, I thank all our college students and alumni students who participated in this international webinar. Once again, I'll thank everyone for their active participation. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I thank
you, ma'am.
the organizers for organizing this. We hope to meet another time face to face. Take care until then. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request the participants to kindly rise up for the national anthem led by Ms. Atulya Jose from the Pedagogy of English.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Dear participants, kindly fill the feedback form and the link for the same is put up in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm here.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your presence.
Oh, thank
and
you. I do
enlightening
enjoy.
our-
I do enjoy this evening with you from our usual routine, right? Yeah, kind of interaction. Yes, that's good. I'm just trying to type. Thank you, everyone. In the chat box, but I'm not able to type. I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Ma'am, you can, ma'am.
I'm not sure. If the cursor function looks different. Okay, let me try again. I've been trying. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, anyway.
Priya, I'm Thomas Alex speaking.
Thank you, ma'am.
Your session was,
Thank you.
Priya,
Okay.
I just want to have some clarity. Visible learning.
Father Alex is there.
I'm talking. Visible
Father, I couldn't hear your voice.
Not able to hear it.
Yeah, very feeble.
Is it audible? Audible?
Actually, very feeble.
Very feeble. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have any Indian author on this visible learning? Show number of books on visible learning. Any Indian authors on visible learning? Number one. Number two, do we have any research on this concept of visible learning? Particularly, you are talking about feedback in the context of Tamil Nadu, in the context of India. How far this feedback will be really a very major factor for bridging the gap?
Oh, okay. Thanks for that question, Father. So I have two questions. To answer the first question, is there any recent research done, books about visible learning in India? Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't come across books from Indian publishers yet. But this is ongoing, and I see Hattie recently published last month also an article related to feedback. And I see so many of Western, in the Western context, and international schools are already incorporating. So I'm not very sure about Indian context in international schools around there. But I see this is getting popularity because feedback is a very important way of closing the gap. And second thing, from my personal experience as a researcher, okay, yes, we have done research on feedback. One of my master students conducted on this, especially the 4 levels of feedback. And it is, she did it with the students from China, secondary school students from China. And when we analyze how 4 different levels of feedback influence English, because in China it is foreign language, so EFL achievement for those students. So how students perceive the 4 levels of feedback given by teachers and what impact. And we found in that study that self-regulation has a positive impact on student achievement. And next comes the process. And as expected from theoretical perspective, task kind of feedback has negative